be the thing tonight.
Yeah, and I mean, in terms of streaming platforms, I don't know if you've ever tried to watch something for free on Plex. I started to once, and it said add one of 9 up in the top right corner, and I was like,
Yep.
Nope, fuck this. Not doing it.
You know what's crazy? I watched a movie last night. Actually, shout outs to 5 Day Rentals. Listeners of this show know them. I was watching, the fuck is that movie called? Double, what's the movie?
I
literally today.
just stopped listening to it.
Is it double something?
Threat,
Double take.
I think.
Double threat. No, yeah, double threat. Yeah, double threat. That's it. And I watched it on Tubi, and the ads were so minimal. I was thankful they were there. I was like, oh, good, I can go pee. Like, they were perfectly placed. Thank you, Tubi. I love you.
Yeah, best streaming service.
So good.
So what are some of those 70s horror films that DK's got you rewatching, Chris?
Well, I've gone back to a few George C. Scott ones. So I rewatched for probably the 5th time The Exorcist 3.
Oh, well, that's 90s, buddy.
Well, no, but The Changeling.
Okay.
And is it named? Oh God, what? It was remade with Liam Neeson and Catherine Zeta-Jones.
I think, isn't that just The Haunting?
Is that The Haunting?
Oh, yeah, The Haunting.
Okay, yeah. I went back and watched the old version of that one.
Sure.
So much better.
Loved it as a kid.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, I don't think I think I might have seen the remake at one point. I feel like there's a bunch of like cherubs in it or something.
Mm-hmm. You're goddamn right.
Yes.
If there's one thing you could be sure of in that movie, it is cherubs.
Yes.
Yeah. So I remember that.
A giant fireplace and cherubs. Yeah.
Yeah. Great movie, I guess. One thing I do is I'm one of those letterboxed people that changes my top 4 every month based on what I watched the previous month.
Yeah, sure.
And I was like, maybe instead of coming onto this podcast and struggling to think of something to talk about, maybe I should take a note of what those were so I can bring that up. And in terms of 70s horror, surprisingly, for the first time last month, I watched Night of the Lepus.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Yeah. I had never seen it. I liked it a lot.
It's a fun movie, and it's like better than you would expect. Like when you read what it's about, and then you're like, really this? But then it's like not that bad, right?
Yeah. I mean, hey, as we'll talk about when we get into this movie, I'm a sucker for miniature sets.
Oh my
and
God.
There's something joyous about watching rabbits terrorize a little farmhouse.
A little farmhouse, yeah. Yeah.
Although there may have been some real animal cruelty in that movie, like a lot of it. I wasn't sure. I couldn't tell.
I don't want to know about that. Let's just say there wasn't.
Yeah. And Big House USA, a mid-50s Charles Bronson movie. That was one I watched.
Damn it.
That was the one I sent you and Bones the screenshot of Charles Bronson looking just jacked beyond all belief.
Out of his mind.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I've always known that and I've seen it, but for some reason, just seeing someone in the 50s with that muscle definition, I was like, oh my God, look at this dude.
It feels weird. Yeah, for sure. I don't know.
It was a good one. Pretty, oddly dark for a movie in the 50s. Like, there's not any, true violence in it, but the implied violence in it is pretty dark for a movie of that time period.
Is he mustached in that one? Mustachioed?
He's not.
Okay, there was a time when he didn't, Man with a Camera, no mustache, and he's like, it makes him seem so much younger, and then he just flips over to old man mustache, and he's that from the 70s till his death.
65 for 40 years of his life.
For the rest of his life. Yeah. There's Bronson talk in my house most days. Any kind of sentence you can say and then just end it with, you son of a bitch. Anything.
Yeah, I'm sure your young daughter appreciates and understands all the Charles Bronson references.
She would probably be able to point him out. I think she's seen enough Bronson around.
Hey, glad to hear someone's raising their kids right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Dead Formats, a movie podcast, which is all about dead formats, the type of movies that just aren't made anymore these days. I'm your host, Chris, and this episode we're going to be discussing Cyber Ninja from 1988. And today I'm joined by two very special guests, both prepared to distinguish themselves with courage and gallantry. Chris, DK, welcome. How are you guys doing this evening?
Chris, I was going to let you go first, but I
improve if you feel like it.
Improve,
right.
And look, we need it. We need it so bad right now.
I know. You always go first, so I mean,
It's because I say the intro.
And you know when I talk over you, it just sort of happens that way.
Jesus. Well,
but it's really good for you to have, we appreciate you having us on. Okay, DK, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, we really appreciate you having us on. No, this is such a good show. I had such a blast with the 5DR guys. I think that's the most recent episode. The game, the videotape magazine.
Hot Dog Video Volume 11. Check your level on Love and Sex.
I have to see it. I haven't seen it yet. I need to see it. What a great episode. If people haven't heard that, what are you doing here? I mean, yeah, listen to this, but holy shit. So great.
Yeah. So if you listen to this show, you should be familiar with DK from our first episode where we talked about Phantasm Revision, and Chris is DK's co-host on their podcast, Nerds, Geeks, and the Kitchen Sink. They talk comics, they talk about movies, they talk about video games. So, hey, they're the perfect pair to bring on to talk about this week's film. Our dead format this week is a direct-to-video film, and it is also the first live-action movie based on a video game, and it is also a Star Wars ripoff, which is why we're talking about it today for May the 4th. We're definitely not recording this episode way in advance. So all the stuff that was recently revealed at Star Wars Celebration, we know all about that. And
we couldn't believe those announcements.
Yeah.
My God.
I liked all the good stuff that they revealed, but I gotta say, the bad stuff,
oh my God,
I wasn't really a fan. What did you guys think?
Well, I know Chris is upset about it all, so I'm the one that's hopeful.
I'm trying not to turn into Red Hulk this time. I swear as God is my witness.
Yeah. They announced there was a little bit of a trailer for like some short. Are those shorts? The Dark Side? What is it called? I'm talking shit again. What do you call it? It's that animated one.
Was it the Underworld?
Underworld. That's it. Mm. Are those based on those old Lucas scripts? No, I know that, but
no.
Are you aware of the Underworld show?
He has a ton of them. Yeah, none of this was.
Speaking of a dead format, it's a thing that never even existed.
That was all considered in the Legends, not the EU, the new EU. That's all.
I didn't know if they had maybe reused some of that
stuff. Yeah.
I mean, I guess just based on you guys' little tangent about EU and George Lucas Underworld, it's safe to say you're Star Wars fans. So tell us a little bit about your respective histories with Star Wars.
Chris, you go first.
Okay, mine started in a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Jesus Christ.
In 1973. Anyway, wow. I did see the OG Star Wars. It's not Star Wars A New Hope, it was Star Wars. I was 4. My parents took me, and I was hooked. I literally hid under another seat to get to see the second viewing that they lost me, and I sat and watched through. So I'm a huge original Star Wars. I mildly like the prequels, and there are things I like of the sequels, but I'm not going to give it a thumbs up. But I have toys. I have some of the original, 12-inch figures. I've got just about everything you can think of Star Wars. So I am a huge fan.
So were your parents just freaking out for an hour and a half looking for you?
It was probably the worst ass beating I ever got in my life after that. But it was so worth it.
Amazing. Well, Chris, one of my favorite recent Star Wars memories is watching Mando with you.
Yeah.
We worked together at that time, and it would be something where the new episode would drop and I hadn't seen it yet, so we'd sort of sneak it at work.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
We had the tablet playing that last episode of, is that season 1? When Luke shows up?
That was 2.
Season 2. I can't remember. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's season 2. Luke shows up and that X-Wing, I just remember, I think I paused it and I just looked at you and I was like, no. Like that was amazing. Yeah, right. Yeah. So that was a really fun recent. And then we watched it again at your house.
Yes.
Like with your family. It was wonderful. Just to see all that Luke stuff. So, I grew up, I think I said this recently on another show. I kind of came alive in the 90s. And so I grew up in a world, though, where there were 3 Star Wars movies. Mm-hmm. And I read the books. I was so into, so all you could get was like the movies. And then there were video games, which one of my favorite games of all time is Star Wars Dark Forces 2, Jedi Knight. It's very underappreciated, underloved. It's like a sort of a Quake style Star Wars game, but you have force powers, you have guns, you have a lightsaber at a certain point. There are Jedi battles that you have to fight the Sith. It's so much fun. You're fighting stormtroopers. It's incredible. I love that game so much. It needs to come back, please, whoever. But anyway, at that time, all there was the expanded universe stuff, the books and the games. Mm-hmm. And so I latched onto those things. And, I was becoming a reader, and I was just blasting through those books. I read so many of those books, and my mom was a librarian. So she was like, hey, if you're reading, I'll get you anything you want, whenever you want. Just tell me what book you want. If you're really reading them, I'm buying them for you. So I was totally spoiled on the books. The comics, the eventual prequels. I even like the sequels to some degree. Yeah, obviously, there are problems, blah, blah, blah. But I'm pretty good at enjoying things. And I'm pretty good at, like, as long as I feel like we're in a place that as long as it ticks a couple boxes, I'm usually pretty okay. So the second one, so we have, what is it?
Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, no.
I was like,
no.
The second sequel.
I'm trying to think of, I'm doing different kind of math in my head here. No, the first movie my daughter ever saw in the theater was, the second sequel. What the fuck is it called?
Attack of the Clones?
Memorable.
No. Sequel.
Oh, Last Jedi.
Last Jedi. Thank you. Yeah. I was like, this. What is it? The Revenge? Is it I'm getting old. There's too many. So Last Jedi was the first movies my daughter Zora ever saw in the theater. So that right there is like a, anytime it's on, I'm like, yeah, okay. I have a special fondness for Rey. I was seeing my daughter, loving a character on the screen, and it was just one of those things. So I guess needless to say, big Star Wars fan. I've played all the recent games. I'm excited for there's a new turn-based XCOM style game that is technically unannounced, but has leaked pretty heavily. It's from Respawn, apparently, but from some of the developers of XCOM. That sounds like a great time. So I'm ready for that.
Wow. Yeah. It's funny you mentioned the second season of Mandalorian, because I used to be a Star Wars super fan, and that's the last thing that I've watched. And it's not because I thought that show was bad. It was just sort of like a slow process that started with the Clone Wars and sort of just like, the sequel trilogy. And then after season 2 of Mandalorian, I saw all of the things on the horizon, and I was like, I'm just not getting anything out of this relationship anymore, Star Wars.
I totally get it.
You mean you didn't like the Scooter Patrol Power Rangers?
Well, he didn't see that.
I didn't even see that.
Oh my God.
I spared myself from that.
You did. You very well did.
It seems to have been a good decision, because the consensus seems to be that Andor is like the only thing that is consensus thumbs up, whether that's like a weak thumbs up or a strong one. But I've never really heard anyone say they dislike that show. But everything else since then seems to has gotten generally like middling to negative reviews. So
Andor lacks fun, but it's not about fun.
Andor lacks fun or pace.
Oh, it's got a pace, and it's like this. It's very plotting.
Sheldon the Eternal, yes.
But I love Andor. It's very good. I'm very excited for the second season. But I have to say, I also had a phase where it was before the sequels came out, where I was just done with it. Like, people would mention Star Wars and I would just sigh and roll my eyes and go, I'm so tired of it. I'm so tired of it. But I don't know what happened. I don't know. I love Rogue One. That's a great one. There's good stuff to be had still of the modern stuff. I don't know. I just feel like I've lightened up on myself, and it's like, yo, buddy, you can enjoy things still. It's okay. So it's really just a decision. And if it's something where right now you're like, yeah, I don't really care, that's fine. But maybe eventually, although I doubt it. There'd have to be some pretty drastic shakeup in whatever has been going on for the past decade plus. Sure.
But I mean, I was just a lot like you, DK. We're similar ages. I was just obsessed with the books, anything that I could find at the library. I was reading it. Tales of the Bounty Hunters, Tales of the Cantina.
Oh my gosh.
Those were two of my biggest ones.
That book is in the room with Chris right now.
Yes,
wow.
It is.
I know where it is on the shelf.
Yeah, loved that. And yesterday I was thinking of this series of young adult ones that I think was called like Jedi Prince. And it was all about, the first book in the series was The Glove of Darth Vader.
I know it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
I know that
Triclops is in there.
Triclops, my man.
So
hell yeah.
Yeah. I was like a moderator of a Discord for a Star Wars mobile game for a long time. So I was
Which game?
Galaxy of Heroes.
That's a cool game, though.
I was obsessed with it.
Yeah, it's a cool game.
And actually, I shouldn't say that Mandalorian 2 was the last like Star Wars thing I did, because I was still like playing that game for a good 2 or 2.5 years after I was like, quote unquote, done with Star Wars.
Well, they supported it like crazy, right? They added Kyle Katarn at a certain point.
Yeah, so I actually quit before they started adding a lot of EU stuff. The only like quote unquote EU characters that were really in it when I was playing were from KOTOR, which I never that completely passed me by because I didn't have an original Xbox, so I never played those games. But
they're good. They're definitely worth your time, but it's also not it's not an experience like I'm begging you to have.
Yeah.
They're fine.
After that, I think they've added Starkiller from Force Unleashed and Kyle Katarn, like you said, like a bunch of random EU characters or things from other video games.
My love for Kyle Katarn is so stupid. I just love Kyle Katarn. It's particularly Jedi Knight, Dark Forces 2. I love his ship. I love his gun that he has, his outfit, the shitty actor that plays him in the live action videos. I love all of that so much. It's so 90s. It's perfect.
Yeah, I think other than Galaxy of Heroes, I probably played Shadows of the Empire a lot just because N64.
Do you have a crushing fear of Wampas like I do because of that game?
Yeah. Also, like, when Disney bought Star Wars and threw away all of the EU, that was the one I was the most sad about because that was like a George Lucas, soup to nuts project. I'm like, you guys should hold on to that. Like, he made that. But
yeah. Prince Shizor, come on.
Yeah. Dash Rendar.
Dash Rendar, my dudes. Come on. Wait, what was this robot called?
Lebo.
God damn it.
And the Outrunner, was that the ship? It was something like that.
Yeah, I think it's called that, isn't it? It's like a shitty Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But enough about Star Wars for now. Well, I guess we're going to talk about Star Wars, but the other thing I think I know the answer to this, but it's a question I usually ask. Had either of you heard of Cyber Ninja before watching it for this cast?
The movie, no. I vaguely remember Cyber Ninja the game. So
I don't think it released in the US ever, but funnily enough, I had come across the game before. I'm a big time emulation dude, and I love arcade.
Mm-hmm.
And I do a lot of handheld gaming, and so I happened to have the game already.
Awesome.
And I had bumped into it before. I played it before, and so I can't lie. Like, I didn't realize it when I was watching the movie, but then when I looked it up, I started to put the pieces together.
Right.
And I was like, holy shit, I can't believe that's crazy.
Yeah, so maybe there's a few gaps you can fill in later on when we're going through the plot.
Yeah. But the game is called Mirai Ninja.
Yes.
I don't know how to pronounce it exactly, but
that's right. Mirai Ninja.
Mirai Ninja. There's a lot of overlap, and I have some things to share in regards to that, but we'll get there when we get there.
So have you either of you seen, I'm sure you've seen many Star Wars ripoffs before, haven't you?
Yes, of course.
Absolutely. I went to a theater and saw Food Wars. Or I should say drive-in.
What was that like?
That was interesting. Pizza the Hut. The Millennium Falcon looked like an iron.
Pizza the Hut? What about Spaceballs?
It was in that too. They
Pizza
had it in Food Wars too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved Spaceballs as a kid, for sure.
The Wookiee was a Muppet. Yeah.
I haven't watched it in 30 years, probably.
Last time I watched it, I was pretty sad.
Not
it didn't
good.
hold up as I wanted it to. But this was during my cranky phase, though, so I don't know. I may have been being too harsh. But I remember, it was just a joy as a kid. Just pure joy. But I don't know. Maybe I just need to be nice again and just say, hey, let's just enjoy Rick Moranis.
Hey, I'm all for enjoying Rick Moranis.
Hell yeah.
If you can enjoy The Last Jedi, you can go back and enjoy Spaceballs.
Look, there's lines from there that I still quote all the time.
I know, right?
Barf, puke, whatever. Where's my money?
We ain't found shit.
Absolutely. I love that.
Yeah. So I was looking at the release calendar for this show, and I noticed I had an episode planned for May 5th. I got the idea hey, let's just do it a day earlier, have an episode about a Star Wars ripoff. And I was looking at lists to get some ideas, and there were surprisingly very few that met the soft rules that I have for the sorts of movies that I like to cover on this show. There were a few animated ones I considered. Space Adventure Cobra, the movie, was one of them, which I actually watched. And it was okay, but it just didn't have that juice that I was looking for. And so I thought about it, and I was like, well, there was that one movie, Cyber Ninja, that I watched 6 years ago that kind of has a tenuous connection to Star Wars with the ATSTs. Maybe I can shoehorn that in somehow. And the more I looked into it, the more I realized that this is very explicitly ripping off Star Wars, more than I had realized. And researching this, I kept finding this quote about how on the back of the VHS for this film, the director, Keita Amemiya, actually says that he made this film as a Star Wars ripoff, but I couldn't find any pictures online that were clear enough to confirm that. So I reached out to a Discord buddy of mine. He provided me with a picture of the Japanese VHS. And sure enough, the back of the VHS has a message from the director, which is as follows. Future Ninja. It's a lame title. In order to create my own version of Star Wars, this lameness is unavoidable. However, this lameness helped me when I was making this film. It was essential. Shiranui decorated with something like a New Year's pine decoration, Akagi like a construction worker, Santaro with a calculator in his hand. And the best part is that someone who had never shot a movie before was directing it on set, and the thing is, they truly believed that all of that lameness is cool. I think this work is filled with such feelings, for better or worse. Please watch it warmly.
It says that on the VHS case?
Yeah. That's
oh my God.
On the back where it's normally has a synopsis and characters and actors, it just says message from the director, and that's what it says.
God.
It's amazing.
That's wonderful.
All movies should have that on the back of them when you...
It's it's kind of shitty and lame, but that's what makes it so good.
Right.
I found a making of documentary. I don't know. Have you watched that?
I haven't. I assume that comes from the Laserdisc.
It has to. The problem is that it's only in Japanese.
Damn.
I only found it today, and I could have found a way to translate it, but I just did not have time.
Yeah, if I had known about it, I would have translated it and sent it to you.
Yeah, that would have been nice. It's cool. It's got some neat behind the scenes footage, and you see them filming it and setting things up and rehearsing the fights and stuff. It's really neat. I wish I could have gotten to that, but it just didn't work out. So that's some fun for the listener to track that down.
Yeah.
Track that down, listener. So like I said, this is the first live-action video game adaptation. I have to specify live-action because there was an animated Pac-Man TV movie released in 1982 called Christmas Comes to Pac-Land, which I think I've actually seen. I've seen several of those animated Pac-Man things.
And depending on the release you watch, I mean, this is a Namco film, right?
Yep.
And so I watched 10 minutes of a dubbed version. And the movie starts with the first thing you see is Pac-Man, the Namco logo.
Wow. I actually haven't ever seen the dubbed version of this. I
couldn't find the complete dub, but I found it's the first 10 minutes.
The thing is that it was dubbed for the VHS release, but I don't think that dub has carried through to successive releases. So it's kind of not as easy to find as the original.
And all I read, and I know this may not be the case, but what I was reading was this was specifically for a Canadian release.
Wow.
So that might make it even more difficult to find. So that's not helpful.
Which I think the title in Canada was Warlord or something like that.
Yep, you got a completely different title, yeah.
So apart from the Pac-Man, there was also a Japanese-only theatrical release of a Super Mario animated film called Super Mario Brothers: The Great Mission to Rescue Princess Peach, and another animated film called Running Boy: Star Soldier's Secret, based on the game Star Soldier. Both of those were released on the same day in 1986.
What the hell's going on?
Yeah, I guess they're all just rushing to be first.
Right.
I've never heard of Star Soldier. It looked like just one of those Space Harrier games. Spaceships shooting spaceships.
Sure. Respectable.
Yeah. The game for this was only released in Japan. The first console ports didn't come out until 2021, and those were also only in Japan for the Switch and PlayStation 4. So the game may actually be more obscure than the movie is in a lot of ways.
Wow.
Wasn't a whole lot of information I could find on this. A lot of the Wikipedia article seems as if it was translated very poorly from Japanese to English.
The Wikipedia article is sparse.
Yeah, so even the information that is out there in English doesn't really help because it doesn't really make any sense. I wasn't able to find anything specifically about why this game in particular was chosen for a movie adaptation, but basically, as best as I was able to piece it together, they started production on this film, but they didn't have a director. And I guess Keita Amemiya was working as a character designer and had a little bit of experience directing, so they just decided to let him direct the movie. And
always a good choice.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was an amazing choice because Keita Amemiya fucking rules, which I'm sure we'll be talking about throughout, but he is best known for directing 2 films in the long-running Kamen Rider series, both of which I watched for the first time in preparation for this. And he's also known for creating his own tokusatsu franchise, Garo, which started in 2005 and has had related movies and series released ever since, even as recently as 2024. So that's all the background I have on that.
Oh, it's funny. I wasn't even aware that he did any of the Kamen Rider stuff.
Yeah.
But it's funny because I was just kind of going over this discussion in my head, and I was like, well, it's going to be hard not to compare it to like Power Rangers and some of those earlier 90s, whatever things. But like, I was like, no, but we need to go earlier. Like it should be Kamen Rider. So I should be comparing it to Kamen Rider. So how funny is that he really did direct some of those. So
yeah.
Those similarities are like real.
So there was like this, I'm a little bit into Kamen Rider. I've watched part of the first series of it. I'm not like
I've
a
heard
super
the new
fan
one's amazing
or anything, but there was like this weird period in the 90s where they didn't have any TV series and they were just doing like these one-off movies. Yeah. And so that's when he was in there. He directed 2 movies that are completely unrelated to any of the series. Both of them are under an hour long, and they're both like origin stories for an iteration of Kamen Rider that like was never planned to continue.
These are the perfect kinds of film.
Yes.
I would love to see these. That sounds wonderful.
If you liked this movie, you will like everything from him that I've seen because it's all very similar. But are either of you like fans of this sort of like superhero tokusatsu genre or?
Oh, yeah. I used to watch all of those like late 70s, early 80s, that they translated over into English that were on TV every morning, Sundays and Saturdays. And our local station was awesome. All those kind of pre-Power Ranger Power Rangers.
Yep. And same for me. I would watch whatever I get my hands on, I was at a friend's house a lot growing up, and one particular one, I kind of was babysat there, and I would go there after school, but we were also like best friends, so it just worked out. It was great. Anytime we could find stuff like that, we would be taping it, and we would be showing it to each other and watching it over and over. And definitely, like, that's how we found Kamen Rider. Like, I don't even remember, where was that even airing? Was that on, like, TNT or something? Or, like, Sci-Fi?
That,
where
in
was
particular,
that?
I had never seen until I was well into adulthood. So I don't remember it being on.
It was definitely on TV.
Yeah,
I just can't remember where.
Yeah, I can't remember right off top. If it was, like, one of the TNT or something like that, and then I know Channel 11, our local KPLR ran those quite a bit.
Well, and I remember there being some other ones that seemed kind of like knockoffs of that. I mean, there were all kinds of those.
Yeah, I mean, me and DK are around the same age, within a few years of each other, so definitely grew up on Power Rangers and all, like, Big Bad Beetleborgs, VR
Dude, you
Troopers.
better believe we are VR Troopers.
An actual American, like, not ripped off and redubbed American tokusatsu film, The Guyver, was very formative for me.
You better fucking believe that I have like 3 references to Guyver in my notes.
Oh, God.
Mark Hamill and one of his best.
With that mustache? You better believe it.
I think, like, there was when I was very young, there was, like, just a videotape at the local video store that was one of those, like, we probably edited together like 3 episodes of Ultraman and called it a movie that I used to rent over and over again.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's all good stuff. I love it. Oh, and we did talk about this off mic, and I don't know if you knew this, DK, but Chris actually watched this without any subtitles, which I think is going to be a very fun experience.
I found this out about 2 hours ago. He's like, I watched it for the 3rd time. It's just kind of tough without subtitles. So I want to point back to the DM, Chris, from the date of March 20th. If you want the subtitles, you will have to download it and use a player like VLC or something. I said that to you. I also mentioned the server. Oh, you couldn't get the server to work. That's okay.
Couldn't get the server to work.
That's fine. But I told you about the damn subtitles.
I know. Okay? I know.
I'm just saying, this is on you.
But I've been working to get the new computer up for the last 2 days, and I totally forgot to look back on it. And the first time I watched it on my phone, so...
How dare you?
All this to say, improve if you feel like it, Chris.
Thank you so much.
Hey,
although the computer upgrade is a great thing. Your camera looks better.
I know, doesn't it, though?
Clearly.
Finally.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun revealing to Chris what the plot is based on or against what he imagined it to be, and I would imagine that they probably line up pretty well because
I mean it definitely was an experience of, like I said, I know a few words in Japanese, so I was catching about every 20th word coming out of their mouths.
That's not very helpful. So. Yeah, I would just ask, how much plot is there really?
I mean,
7 pages worth, according to my notes.
Oh my god!
But yeah, let's get into it. So it starts with a text crawl, much like you might see in Star Wars, that says, "Once upon a time in a distant future," almost like a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
That seems familiar.
Yeah. Valiant troops of the noble Suabe clan prepare to engage the Dark Overlord's army of mechanical warriors in combat. Anticipating the worst, the Suabe generals station their beloved princess well out of harm's way. Facing overwhelming odds against the powerful mechanical ninjas, the young warriors of the Suabe prepare to distinguish themselves with courage and gallantry. The final hour of conflict has arrived, and guys, we are then treated to an, I'll say it, amazing battle sequence. What was going through your heads as this epic struggle between good and evil unfolded before you?
Well, I have to back up just for a second.
Yes.
Just for a second. Already I have an issue. The Suabe generals station their beloved princess well out of harm's way, outside in a lawn chair.
In the middle of a battlefield.
Yeah.
The fight is amazing. The whole thing is amazing. It's like me playing with toys in the yard as a kid. That's the best way I can describe it.
Right.
It is so imaginative, and the walkers and everything. And by the way, this is the first show and tell thing I have. Those walkers are directly from the game.
Wow.
And so it's not going to help anyone listening, but I'm just going to quickly show you that. Do you see that?
Beautifully rendered on the Namco system too.
Directly from the game.
Right.
And there is another thing that's pretty cool. Let me grab the right screen. I don't want to spoil anything. But there is another thing too. When the thing starts and you see the words floating in the sky, that is also like directly from the game. It's kind of cool. If you look at that intro, the first like 15 minutes of the movie versus this from the game, like they are treating you right. If you're a fan of the game, they're doing you a real good deed here. I mean, it's perfect. They're nailing it. Even the ninjas, I mean, pretty close. Although the ninja wasn't here in the game or in the movie, but still, those words being in the sky, like it's really cool. It sets the tone. It sets the atmosphere. It's really neat. It's unique. I really like that.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely see the Star Wars influence right off the bat with mechanical ninjas that are basically like Tusken Raiders that shoot energy shurikens from their palms.
Sure.
Also, like the mechas are basically ATSTs with feudal Japanese buildings on top of them.
It's I get that you could say it's a knockoff, but I think it's kind of like the best way to do it.
Yeah. I mean, the opening battle scene it's a perfect display of the tension between the film's low budget and its lofty concepts, because it is very obviously a low budget film, but at the same time, it's executed very well and in like such a distinct and imaginative aesthetic that it somehow ends up working. Like this feudal Japan meets 80s sci-fi look isn't something that I've ever seen done in this particular way. I think they really pull it off. It's hard to describe almost.
Yeah, but it's like a pairing that works so well. It's honestly, it amazed me. I thought it was just, it's incredible. It just all works, and it's so uniform through the movie. It's like they really did, like, I don't know who is responsible for those designs, but my God, it's perfect.
Well, and that's another thing. I really wanted to know how he came up with the designs. I don't know about you guys, but like the walkers really reminded me of like a cybernetic Baba Yaga house.
Yeah. That's the first thing I thought of. Yeah.
I mean, that's absolutely, it's like, okay, where did you come up with that kind of concept of that design? With that, Asian flair on top of it.
Yeah.
So,
and there's like, the good guys have like fortresses, like that are like Japanese fortress tank mechas.
Yeah.
It's so cool. And it's like, it's this really interesting, like cyclical inspiration, because Star Wars obviously inspired by samurai films, The Hidden Fortress. And then now we have a Japanese film inspired by Star Wars that takes it in this other crazy direction. It's very interesting. But at the end of the battle, one of the Suabe warriors, Jiramaru, surveys the destruction and finds that his brother, Hyokaku, has fallen. Jiramaru takes up his brother's sword and screams towards the heavens. We get our title screen, Mirai Ninja Stealth Joy Cloud Device Side Story.
Can you explain that title?
I can't, but I think it is a case of someone translating this, because this is like a fan translation. I think what they did was translate the kanji in isolation from each other rather than as like an idea. Like, so this kanji typically means stealth, so we're just going to say Stealth Joy Cloud Device Side Story rather than like what they all should mean together. That's my suspicion. Although I would imagine if you have the fluency in Japanese to translate an entire movie, you probably wouldn't make that mistake. So I don't know.
It makes you wonder, is it really that? Yeah. And if so, what the hell does it mean?
Right. I'll have to get Logan.
Stealth Joy.
I'll have to get my son to watch this and tell me, because he's fluent in Japanese. So
what's the
you
joy
should
part?
have FaceTimed with him.
Well, he's an EMT and he's always busy. So
all right.
But I will after the fact.
But before we move away from the beginning fight, like I don't think I can overstate how fun it is. The outfits, so many guys running around, just kicking the shit out of each other, flipping. Right. The guy that flips onto the rock.
Yeah, I don't know how he did that without hurting himself.
Died. That's nuts. I mean, the action is really, really good. So it's like we don't have any money, but like, God damn it, we're going to give it our all here.
Yeah.
Also, did the music in that battle scene remind you of music from
Terminator?
Yes.
Yes.
But what's interesting about it is that it sounds more like the Terminator 2 version, but this is before Terminator 2.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
But there's like a similarity. Like there's the machines and everything. You know, it's very strange. I believe that piece of music, and I could be wrong. This was quite late at night. I was playing the game, and I had the music turned up, and I think that piece of music is in the game. So it's even older.
Wow.
If I'm correct, and I believe I got a pretty good ear for a little melody like that. I'm pretty sure that it's the same piece of music. If not, it's very similar. Regardless, like how weird that like tonally that music is so similar, and then like we have all these similar ideas of the machines taking over and the giant things rolling over. Yeah, it's a weird coincidence yet again.
Yeah, well, I mean, if he's not above ripping off Star Wars, he's probably not above ripping off Terminator.
Sure.
But we are next introduced to the titular Cyber Ninja as he battles it out with a group of mechanical ninjas in the woods. The Cyber Ninja is easily able to dispatch the mechanical ninjas, and the fight ends with Cyber Ninja doing a wall kick off of a tree and decapitating one of the mechanical ninjas.
He decaffeinated that thing.
And I will say, as I said, I've seen several of Keita Memiya's other films. He does have a preoccupation with decapitations and head explosions. I think it happens in all of the ones that I've seen. And there's at least one more later on in this film.
My kind of guy.
Yep. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
The swordplay is so good. The swords seem real, by the way. It seems very unsafe. So I saw some behind the scenes footage, and I couldn't understand, obviously, what the director was saying, but they were running through the routines, the fight routines, over and over, and the main guy, the Cyber Ninja, was doing them without his helmet on. I can't imagine having to do all that at such a ferocity and at such a pace and swinging that metal thing around and not hurting someone or yourself with that helmet on. It's legitimately, it seems dangerous. Like it's really cool.
It was a real decapitation. That Tusken Raider actually died.
Well, they were only mechanical, so no big deal.
More machine now than man.
It could have had the soul of a human, as we learn later. It's possible.
Yep.
We should also point out that we're about 11 and a half minutes into the film, and there's basically been no dialogue apart from a few characters screaming out other characters' names peppered in here and there.
Right.
And that may not sound that impressive, but this movie's only 68 minutes long when you take the credits out. So it's a
point that out.
It's a pretty substantial portion of the film that is just like wall-to-wall action. Just as the Cyber Ninja kneels down to rest, a human soldier named Akagi emerges from the trees with 5 Suabe warriors in tow. Akagi threatens to destroy the Cyber Ninja, whom he identifies as the one called Shiranui by the crane crest on his helmet. Shiranui seems to recognize one of the Suabe warriors, Jiromaru, and decides to leap into the trees rather than battle the humans.
Cyber Ninja reminds me very much of Yoshimitsu from Tekken.
Yeah.
Which is a wonderful thing. I love that. And just like seeing him running around in the woods and stuff, doing Yoshimitsu things is like, it's very cool to see that. The whole look of the Cyber Ninja, 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
You couldn't be better. You couldn't. But I want to go back just really quickly. At the end of the first scene, I forgot to mention this from my notes. So I tried to translate. We didn't even talk about that the swords they're not bullets. They're like energy charges.
Right.
Well, I think they're more like energy charges, right? I think if I've watched the movie a few times now, and so my understanding of it has evolved. I could be wrong. I don't think there's an actual projectile coming out.
Right. It's
like blasting energy.
But they are bullets.
Yeah.
But they're like bullets. Yeah. They're like little. Yeah, exactly.
It's
so
a one and done
right.
spent. Yeah.
Yeah, which is really cool.
It's the coolest fucking idea in the world. It makes no sense, but they just imagine like loading a 9mm bullet into the hilt of your samurai sword.
I will say, it's fucking awesome.
Yes.
But so he holds up at the very last, after he climbs up and you see him holding the thing up.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to translate that with my phone and it wouldn't translate. But then I watched that English dub and there's a voiceover. And when he holds that little thing up, it says out loud, "The heart of the sword."
Interesting.
I found that to be quite interesting. So the heart of the sword is that it's even more dangerous. I don't know. The heart of the sword is the gun part. I don't know. But yeah, really cool. So that comes into play a lot later. So I wanted to make sure we didn't miss the essentially bullets for the gun.
Yeah.
Oh, and Akagi, is that the guy's name? Akagi?
Yes.
I'm again, we grew up in a similar time, and I'm sure we both watched the same stuff. He reminds me of Vegeta from Dragon Ball Z quite a bit. I think it's his look, but also his attitude, and also his like kind of blue and white and the boots and everything.
Yeah.
His whole look.
That chest plate armor. Yeah, I was getting Vegeta vibes. Dragon Ball vibes as well.
Everyone has scouters on their heads.
Right. The scouters are, for sure a thing. I was going to bring that up later. They measure your Kai, I guess. I will get there.
What were you going to say, Chris?
Oh, you guys were talking about the ninja's design. It also reminds me that I can't remember if the game was after or before, but Ninja Gaiden.
Oh, yeah.
Totally looks like that. Especially like the later iterations of the game. Complete.
A classic game that's too fucking hard.
Ninja Gaiden Black on the hardest difficulty.
Oh my God, shut up.
I loved that game.
Yeah.
I'm a Shinobi fan. I'm not sorry about it.
And nothing wrong with that.
In terms of ninja games, probably Tenchu was the one I was going to say I probably played the most. Although it's like, Metal Gear Solid's not a ninja game, but there's a shitload of stealth involved. And
you better believe there's a cyborg ninja.
Oh, yeah, because in VR missions, the Metal Gear Solid VR missions game that came out, you get to be Gray Fox, so it is a ninja game.
Don't get me started. I will do Metal Gear all night. We have to just move. I shouldn't even talk about it.
So we are then taken to Kikai Castle, the evil headquarters that is crawling with mechanical ninjas. And I do mean crawling because they're crawling on the walls like spiders. We are introduced to our two main bad guys. One is Great Raimei, the Bishop of Darkness.
What a cool name.
Yes. A kabuki-faced sorcerer with insect legs protruding from his back. He's almost like some sort of spider clown that you might see doing interpretive dances on a college campus.
Oh my God. What? Wow.
Poison
Is that
Ivy
a 360?
2,
That's a hell of a combination.
Shout out.
Wow. I in my notes kind of refer to him as Mr. Sinister.
Yeah, he's just like kind of, there's an archetype of like Japanese sorcerer. So I think of like when I see him, I'm like Quan Chi from Mortal Kombat.
Well, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
But there's a million characters just like him.
Yep.
And
he's good too. His look is perfect. And the voice, get out of here. He does a lot of heavy lifting for the villainry of this film.
Right.
Well, he does most of the expositioning, so
he does almost all of it. Yeah.
And he has an underling named Shoki. And how would you guys describe him?
There's a Power Ranger thing. I don't even know what it's called. I mean, it looks like Silver Samurai.
With Bob Marley dreadlocks.
Yeah.
Good call.
White. Yeah, completely stark white.
But also looks completely unique too. I mean,
right.
It's such a good design. I cannot say enough about the costuming for this movie. It is legitimately incredible.
So Shoki is played by Mizuho Yoshida, who's actually like a pretty well-known suit actor. He's in two of Amemiya's other films, Zeiram and Zeiram 2 as the titular Zeiram. He also played Zetus in Gamera the Brave. He plays Dagara in Rebirth of Mothra 2. And he plays Mother Legion in Gamera 2 Attack of Legion. So
holy shit. This dude knows how to do it.
Yeah, some pretty big stuff.
Yeah, he's a great villain. And that's another one that is in the game, that is directly from the game, and their interpretation of it is spot on. Is really spot on. I won't show it to you yet because he appears in a screen that I have for later, but
wow.
I mean, really, really, really good. Really good.
So after much exposition that basically amounts to Shiranui is regaining his human memory after being converted into a cyber ninja by the Dark Mechanical Army, and Shoki is being sent to destroy him, we return to the woods where the princess of the Suabe clan is hiding out in a mechanical palanquin, which shout out to Cyber Ninja for teaching me that word. I had never heard it before, but it is the name for like the throne that someone is carried on with the sticks. That's a palanquin. Okay. Didn't know that.
Was that a practical? Was that really there? It looked like it might have been a painting.
I think that was Matt. That
okay, part. I thought so too. But it was really convincing. It's
looks
briefly
cool
on the
as
screen.
hell.
Yeah.
It looks so good. Yeah. I thought it might have been a painting, yeah.
Back at Kikai Castle, there is a pulsating tree in the Chamber of Darkness, and Raimei explains to Shoki that there's a solar eclipse tomorrow and that when the moon covers the sun, that's the exact moment when the magnetic rays will arouse you.
I have that note. They can't wait to get aroused tomorrow at noon.
I was kind of wondering what that was because his overacting and the whole kind of excitement on that point really had me questioning what the hell was going on at that point.
Well, now you know. They're in the Chamber of Darkness getting aroused.
I didn't know if it was a little more spicy than I expected or...
Me every night. And I like that, it makes sense. It's like, oh, well, all this magnetic energy could help him unlock his memory.
I'm going to push back on you a little bit when you say it makes sense.
Oh, okay, sure. It makes sense in a way.
Yeah.
That was fair.
DK's had a lot of experience in his dark chamber with electronic toys.
Yeah.
Sadly true. Very true.
Raimei and Shoki's master Kurosagi will be resurrected, and the tree is pulsating with the energy that will nourish Kurosagi. They decide that their master can only be fed with the purest blood. Also, the magnetic storm tomorrow might restore Shiranui's memory, so they have to be careful. Cool.
We haven't really talked about the ninjas too much, the evil ones. I mean, yeah, they look like Tusken Raiders.
Yes.
But we haven't really mentioned their movement. Their body language is really good and like really well thought out.
And also not mechanical or ninja at all.
No.
It's when I was watching it these few times, the closest analog I could think of was back to Power Rangers again. Very much like putties.
100%. Very much like putties. They have a lot of strange arm movements, and it's like they go out of their way to be in uncomfortable positions. Like when they're having the Zoom call with their boss, they have to stand there with their arms out like this, and those extras must have been dying.
It's in the scene where Cyber Ninja kills a bunch of them at the beginning. When it shows the aftermath of that, there's one guy that's like standing on his head.
Handstand dead guy.
Yeah. It's awesome.
It's really good. There's a couple. There's also one where there's two. There's the good guy, and then there's the evil ninja guy, and they've both stabbed each other, and they're just leaning on each other, but they're dead. It's so cool.
Every frame a painting.
Yeah.
Very true.
Just then, the face of Kurosagi appears on the wall, much like Zordon from Power Rangers, or even the Emperor from Star Wars. Who'da thunk?
Mm-hmm.
Raimei wants to turn Shiranui to the dark side, almost like a Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker situation.
Holy shit, man.
But then Kurosagi tells Raimei that if Shiranui regains his human memory, he must be destroyed, almost like a he will join us or die type scenario.
I wonder where we've heard that before.
You're blowing my mind.
And so this was the point where I was like, why didn't I see all of this the first time I watched it?
Well,
like, I'm sure
also,
Chris, even without dialogue, you probably were like, wow, this is a lot like Star Wars.
Oh, yeah. I saw several similarities.
We return to the Suabe clan's base camp. The leader of the Suabe clan, Kajiwara, is settling up with Akagi for all the mechanical ninja killing he's done. The Suabe clan has built a new weapon, a giant pagoda railgun. They plan to fire on Kikai Castle, but just as Kajiwara asks Akagi to protect the princess tomorrow while the clan attacks the castle, a Suabe warrior informs Kajiwara that the princess has been kidnapped. A flying sled carrying the princess passes by and kills a shitload of Suabe warriors.
And just to briefly, I mean, here's something that this is not from Star Wars. It's super weapons. Star Wars doesn't have those.
No.
So we can just move on.
The big ships that have, large laser cannons on them.
No.
But hey, I do want to say, that's a hell of a pair of binoculars that he had.
Yeah.
To be able to see a person in a ship miles away, clear as day.
That old man was great. I loved his just pasted on hair. Everything about his look was fun.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he's kind of the Bail Organa of the movie.
Everyone was thinking it.
Like
You didn't
Jimmy
have to say it.
Smith with his pasted on goatee.
Holy
Right.
shit.
It's all coming for full circle now.
Who's the Jar Jar of this movie? I guess one of those doofus soldiers, yeah.
Yeah, one of the ones that hasn't mastered his Kai.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Akagi offers to rescue the princess, but he'll need a lot of gold and 5 men who have mastered their Kai. Akagi plans to save the princess just in time for the Suabe clan to destroy the Kikai castle. It's almost like Han and Luke rescuing Leia before attacking the Death Star.
It's also like Han demanding a payment.
Yeah.
For rescuing the
Very
princess.
much so.
Yeah.
So we should point out Akagi is he's a mercenary, much like a Han Solo, sort of. I mean, he's smuggler, mercenary, similar lines of work. He's not actually part of the clan, so that's why he is extorting Bail Organa to go save.
He does seem honorable, though. He seems very honorable, willing to do what it takes, willing to put himself in danger. Yeah, he's a cool character. He's actually a cool character, I think.
He just knows his worth, and he's going to get it.
Hell yeah.
So the princess is being held captive in the pulsating tree to feed Kurosagi. This is also a repeating Keita Memiya trope. Those 2 Kamen Rider films I watched both have this in them.
Really?
I can't remember if it's in his other films, but 3 out of 3 that I've watched recently have someone in a tree or tree-like apparatus.
Tree out of tree.
Yes.
Okay.
At the Suabe base camp, Akagi chooses men to accompany him on his raid on Kikai Castle. The men are evaluated one by screaming as loud as they can, and their power levels are displayed on some sort of electronic device that they all wear on their heads. Now, this is something that I knew was adapted from the game because I did watch like a 20-minute speed run.
I watched the same one as well.
In the game, rather than having a health bar, your character's health is represented by kanji. So the characters you see on the Soldier's Scouter things in this movie are the characters in the game that mean you have full health. So,
and I like that if he chooses you, he just shoves you as hard as he can.
Yeah, but the only problem is that after that very brutal raid by the flying sled, there aren't enough Suabe men left who have mastered their Kai, so Akagi is going to have to proceed shorthanded. But Jiromaru offers his services to avenge his brother's death at the hands of the mechanical ninjas. Akagi says no, punches him in the face, which causes his power level to go over 9,000, and Jiromaru sets off with Akagi and the other Suabe warriors towards Kikai Castle.
And that reminds me, a thing I missed, I should have said this before, but when they cut to one of those moments when the princess is being held in the tree, you know, kind of like Leia being held in the Death Star, she says a line, something along the lines of, I can't die in these clothes. Yes. I'm a warrior.
I must change into a miniskirt, as we find out at the end of the movie.
Much later, yeah.
Akagi and crew arrive at a hidden entrance to the castle, and here we get some great feudal, futuristic technology. There's a scroll that pulls out into an electronic map overlay, really cool modular revolver bazooka things, and here is where they actually talk about what a spirit sword is. So I just enjoyed all of this stuff. It's great prop work. I loved it. I
would have gone crazy for like those guns as a kid. The guns and stuff, and the sword too. I mean, and even the scroll map that's like a hologram. It's all so cool. You're right. So, you know, we can talk about the budget being low, but their imagination was so high. They did this. Honestly, it's again, if you're going to rip off Star Wars, you did a great job, guys.
Well, you know, and that's the one thing, especially with Star Wars, I call it tech porn for guys.
The guns look so cool, and they're like wooden.
The ships, the swords, all those kind of things we love to see in a movie that'll make it successful. No matter how, kind of bad it can always be better with a little tech porn.
Yeah. But also, I mean, it's sort of similar. I mean, Star Wars has all of these iconic designs that are just things slapped together. I mean, IG-88's like an espresso machine or something.
You better believe it, he is.
And there is that famous guy in Cloud City running around with an ice cream maker.
That has been used so many times afterwards now.
Hey, they have a name for that now. It's a Camtono.
Yep.
Is it bad that I know that, or is it good that I know that?
It's all just so good.
Yeah.
The Suabe enter the lower catacombs of the castle, but they are spotted by some sort of motion detector, and another battle with mechanical ninjas ensues. An Anubis-looking guy shows up. Just as things start to look grim for the Suabe clan, Shiranui shows up to save the day.
Yeah, in my notes I refer to this as a mini-boss.
Yeah.
He has to be a mini-boss in the game, right. I imagine.
Yeah. There is, and he like teleports across the screen. Yeah, definitely.
I'm so glad I'm not the only one that was calling this guy the Anubis.
Oh, yeah. He's just...
I mean, just...
Anubis, Stargate.
Yeah.
All of these things.
Yeah, this is the first time we really get to see them using the swords, like for real.
Yeah.
Right.
The spirit swords. And yeah, once they start doing it and you realize what it is, it's just like, holy shit. I love this.
It's amazing. But by the end of the battle, all of the good guys except for Akagi, Jiramaru, and Shiranui have fallen to the mechanical ninjas. And it's at this point that someone finally puts 2 and 2 together because Akagi notices that Jiramaru's spirit sword has the same crane that's on Shiranui's helmet. Shiranui must in fact be Jiramaru's dead brother, Hyokaku. Wow. A revelation.
A surprise to be sure.
Yeah, right.
But a welcome one.
So good.
And we find out that Shiranui plans on getting his soul back and becoming human again before the castle is attacked, but Akagi doubts that he would be accepted back into the Suabe clan even if he managed to become human again. And this part, I didn't really understand that much because Jiramaru yells at him and calls him a traitor. I'm not really sure why. I did not get that.
In the first level of the game... is it called Deserter? So I wonder if he like deserted the clan or something. Like, I wonder if that's something we just didn't really get. Some previous thing that happened where I don't really know how to make the math work, but I'm just putting that together. Maybe they kind of think of him as a deserter.
Sure.
Or maybe none of that.
Let's go with that.
It's kind of a harsh way to refer to someone that died alongside you in battle.
Right.
Yeah.
You deserted this mortal plane. Shoki, 2 henchmen, and a gaggle of mechanical ninjas block the hero's path to the flying sled bay, and you guessed it, there's another battle of mechanical ninjas. Shoki nearly defeats Shiranui, but Jiramaru saves him at the last second, distracting Shoki long enough for Shiranui to land a killing blow on Shoki. Or is it a killing blow?
It's gotta be. This has these ceiling traps.
Yes.
Right? We're in this like sort of cave. But I don't know if it's really a cave, but it's like
Catacombs.
A cave. Yeah, something. Yeah. But those ceiling traps are weirdly a thing that are in the game. Like it's weird that they choose to adapt that part. Whatever. Yeah. Like there are whole sections of the game that are missing from the film. Like there's a part when there's a city and there's a part where like a, looks like a heavily populated, modern city, but you don't see any of that. There's a part of the game when you're in like a mechanical, some sort of factory or like, there's like giant cogs and stuff rotating around and stuff, but none of that makes it into the movie either. But for some reason, the ceiling traps in a cave, we got to have them. We got to have them. And it is a fun little thing, where like the guy accidentally steps under it and it zaps him. Like those are cool.
Yeah, they're very cool. They like spray kanji at you. Yes. I'm not sure what it says, but it looks cool. But I guess that's kind of a thing with live action video game adaptations, right? It's like, why this the Super Mario Brothers movie is the classic example. It bears no resemblance to the games, but hey, there's this weird folk singer called Toad.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta have that. He's got a swirly haircut like a mushroom.
You better believe it. Yeah, that reminded me of another thing, but it's gone now, so I guess it wasn't that important.
Okay, well, if it comes back to you, chime right in.
Sure.
Was it about Street Fighter, the movie?
I mean, it should have been. It should have been. Nope, I don't know. It's gone. No worries.
Yeah, I guess we also, shortly before this, we see that Shoki, he impales some guy, one of the Suabe clan, with his dreads. So that's cool. Throwing a little violence in there.
Well, and that is an attack he does in the game, so it makes complete sense.
The three heroes steal a flying sled. They crash it right into Kikai Castle. They race towards the Chamber of Darkness to rescue the princess, where they are greeted by Raimei. And there's another fight with a bunch of mechanical ninjas and a bunch of energy beam visual effects and all sorts of crazy shit.
That was the thing I was going to say.
Yeah.
Those energy effects, they're all hand-drawn. They look so good. I can't believe how stoked I am on this movie. But there's so much good stuff in there. It shouldn't be abandoned and forgotten forever. Like, I hope people will actually see this, because it's it's pretty goddamn cool.
Yeah. So that's one thing I got to say about Keita Amemiya's movies, is that he has these ideas and he will do whatever it takes to realize them on screen. So in one of those Kamen Rider movies that I just watched, for instance, there's suitmation, there's miniatures, there's early CGI, there's stop motion. It's like he has the idea, and budget be damned, he's going to figure out a way to realize it on screen, which is what makes his movies so strong. And I think it's apparent in this one as well.
Totally agree.
Yeah. I was going to say the one thing with that energy swirling around, it really reminded me of how they did the final quickening in Highlander.
You would be talking about Highlander. One.
Shut your damn mouth. Keep Highlander on in your mouth.
I just watched what's that movie called? The Witch guy. The Witch one. Warlock. I watched Warlock. I just watched Warlock 1 and 2.
Okay.
And Warlock 2 has some, not exactly, but like some similar effects. Right. But they're better in this.
Yeah, it really was.
Although I have to recommend Warlock 2. Warlock 2.
Talk about a crazy movie.
Rules.
I haven't made it that far. I watched the first one 10 years ago.
Do you want to watch
on to 2 or 3?
Do you want to watch a movie that is so goddamn fun, where the villain just gets to go on this crazy tour of he basically becomes like a Freddy Krueger and just, or like a Pinhead even, and he's like serving you like a weirdly ironic murderer and having a great time while he does it. It feels like it could be Hellraiser movie almost.
Wishmaster.
Basically.
I also just watched Wishmaster like the same week, I think.
Yeah.
Wishmaster is a little bit more dumb.
Fair.
This was more imaginative and fun, and like you really enjoy it. Wishmaster's like, okay, yeah, I get it. He's going to turn that person into he froze that lady, okay, right. Or he puts Tony Todd in the okay, yeah. But no, yeah, I'm just gonna just recommend check it out.
Warlock is a lot more witty than what Wishmaster ever thought about being when it comes to.
And I'm just going to say this:
taking people out. Yeah,
Warlock 2 is my preference. I would rather watch it again than Warlock 1, even though Warlock 1's a better movie. Warlock 2 is so much more fun. Watch it with a group if you can.
Oh, I don't have any friends, so that won't be happening.
Okay. Sorry.
I'll watch it sadly in my chamber of darkness. Yes, there's crazy shit on the screen.
Yeah.
And Shiranui cuts open the pulsing tree to find the desiccated husk of his human body. He now knows that he will never become human again, and he takes out his frustration on a couple of mechanical ninjas. But in the chaos, Raimei grabs Jirimaru and shoots an energy blast through his chest. Shiranui calls out to Jirimaru, and in his dying moment, Jirimaru finally realizes that Shiranui is his dead brother.
Unbelievable. There's also another little Star Wars reference here. It's a bit of a stretch, but there is. I think the Vegeta guy says, I should have known you're the source of this stench. Something along those lines. You know, Leia says that to Tarkin on the Death Star.
Right.
Wow. I didn't
recognize your foul stench when I was brought on board.
What a weird thing to reference.
To associate, yeah.
I can't tell you for sure that that's what that is, but hey, it's a Star Wars line that everybody remembers. And I'm sure everyone remembers that line. Everyone.
Shiranui attacks Raimei, who says, us two combined would be quite the team. We would be invincible. It's almost like Darth Vader telling Luke, with our combined strength, we can end this destructive conflict and bring order to the galaxy. It's a lot like that. But Shiranui defeats Raimei with a blow from his spirit sword, and Raime dissolves into a pile of hand-drawn tree vines.
It looks like vines and wires and like just sort of like dead plant stuff. It's really cool. And the whole, the transformation from just regular corpse to that, it happens pretty quickly, but it's like, you could tell they took a lot of care into making that look cool. And it really does. It's a pretty memorable visual. Yeah.
And when I was watching this the last time earlier today, I was like, kind of like, I don't really get the tree thing. It's like they're evil, they're mechanical, but they also trap people in trees and they become trees when they die.
Theory, if you want a theory.
Yeah.
Because they're mechanical and they want to keep the human essence. It's another living thing. They need another living thing to trap the living thing.
See, I was almost going the opposite way. That it was like the mechanical perverting the living life force.
Well, but it's in the tree.
And that's how they were using. Yeah,
the soul's in the tree, right? So the soul,
the trees are what they're using.
They have to keep the soul in the tree because they're both alive. Look, it's just a theory, man. Because
everything else is mechanical and dead.
Yeah.
I mean, we're kind of getting to the same place, in a different route.
Yeah, well, I said it first. You son of a bitch.
Yeah, I mean, those are as good of explanations. I actually I didn't really think about it. I was just like, that doesn't make sense. And then I moved on until now when I brought it back up again. Akagi frees the princess from the pulsating tree. Just as everything seems to be neatly wrapped up, the solar eclipse hits and showers Kikai Castle with magnetic energy.
Arousal.
Yeah, magnetic arousal. The Dark Overlord Kurosagi reanimates himself into the body of Shoki, which has somehow transported itself into the castle because he actually died miles away because they had to fly to get to the castle. Plot hole.
Yeah. He hits him with like Ghostbusters, like plasma, like from the trap.
There's some crossing of streams.
It definitely looks like that.
Multicolored lightning everywhere. Red, blue, green. 3 colors. That's 3 right there. Shiranui and Akagi seem to have finally met their match, but Shiranui gets the Dark Overlord in a sword bind long enough for Akagi to stab him in the back and pump a few rounds from his spirit sword into Kurosagi.
Is that the coolest moment in the movie?
Probably. I think so.
He gets
it's also
in there
very funny.
Oh, it's like, oh God, it's cool. It's so cool. It really is.
Shiranui finds the specially marked spirit sword bullet on the ground from the very beginning of the movie that DK was telling us about. He loads it into his sword and decapitates Kurosagi.
The heart of the sword.
Kikai Castle sprouts some mechanical spider legs, and what is not really apparent in the movie but is more apparent in the game is that it's trying to run away. Because there is a cutscene at the end of the game of this castle sprouting mechanical legs and running away, but in the movie, they just kind of flail around.
And that brings me to my final show and tell, which, Chris, you would have already seen this, but I'll just show it just because it's cool. And, we're an audio format, so this is not helpful, but maybe your reactions might be fun. There's the throne room. There's the dark chamber there. Chamber of Darkness. I mean, they pretty much nail that in the movie.
And the princess in the tree.
The princess in the tree, and there's Shoki there.
Yeah.
Look how faithful Shoki is in the. I mean, it's really good.
Right.
Even the little this sort of mechanical
background,
whatever, like
stage platform thing.
Yeah.
That's in the movie.
Yeah,
it is.
It's pretty cool. And then I also have this to show you. Just because we're right there.
Right.
That's in the movie. That is straight up, that's what happens.
I'm still seeing the same screen.
Yeah, you haven't switched.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
I was like, we just talked about that, yes.
This is important.
Was in the movie.
This is important stuff. And so that's why. It's not showing the screen, it's showing okay, yeah. There you go. That's what you get at the end. Which was fully in the movie. I know we're not quite there, but we're basically there. I just figured I'd show you this now. And then, one last thing, and we saw all that. No, there's one more. Where is it? In the credits for the game, here's the special thanks. Here's all these nice names. Also, we want to thank calendars and we want to thank ashtrays. Special thanks to those ashtrays. You know they were smoking so much when they made this game.
Or maybe it's a brand of Calendar's ashtrays.
Right.
I don't know.
Marie Calendar's ashtrays.
All right, you're onto it.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, though, because I just kind of skipped through the speed run. Is the final boss just Shoki a second time, or do you actually get to fight? I was wondering if it was like a budget thing where they couldn't afford to make like an extra suit for the final bad guy in the movie.
I think there's a moment where you're fighting the big head. I think the head comes out of the TV and you fight it. I'm pretty sure. But that's it. Really, it's Shoki.
Yeah, so, I mean, this is pretty much the end of the movie. Like, the Suabe clan fires their pagoda railgun, which destroys the castle right as the three heroes escape on a flying sled. They exchange some words about how they've all suffered loss in the war against the mechanical army, and Shiranui just base jumps out of the sled onto a rock. Roll credits, Cyber Ninja.
You deal with my dead brother. I gotta go.
Just leaves a body there. And then superhero lands on top of a rock.
But it looks great. And then they don't freeze frame when he lands. They freeze frame when he jumps away in action again.
Does a second jump.
It's
cool
like a
as hell.
selection screenshot.
It looks great.
So yeah, I mean that's Cyber Ninja. I mean, what are your thoughts on this movie in general?
In that
gentlemen?
last conversation, they mentioned Black Falcon.
They do bring it up once more. I think it's the name of a ship or something. Or
but we just don't know.
You know what? Actually, no, I think that's another translation thing, because what I was doing earlier, I was looking at the Japanese Wikipedia article for this and translating it to English because it's more robust.
Yeah.
It makes more sense. An evil spirit.
Why didn't I think of that?
So I'm trying to remember. I think
I don't want to get hung up on Black Falcon, but I just thought it was funny that this seems to be the first reference to that in the movie, right?
They bring it up during the scene where the flying sled attacks the Suabe, which is why I was thinking it was a ship. But actually, on the Japanese Wikipedia article, when you translate it to English, the guy that they call Kurosagi in this movie is called Black Heron Shikinami, so another black bird. Maybe that's a mistranslation of between heron and falcon. Maybe they're talking about Kurosagi. That seems to make sense.
I'm glad I brought this up.
But yeah, what did you guys think of good old Cyber Ninja from 1988?
Chris, go ahead.
Okay. No, I had fun. Like I said, I didn't understand hardly a damn word of it, but I mean, just watching the action alone and just looking at the design and thinking about the time when this was made. For a low budget as it was, I mean, it was
how many
just
times
a
did you watch it?
Fun movie. 3.
Without subtitles. So in some way,
I think by the 3rd time, I was starting to learn more Japanese just through osmosis of hearing the language over and over.
In some way, you had a more pure experience.
Yes.
In some way, you still haven't watched it.
I know, right?
Yeah, but same. I mean, I watched it actually. I have a little group that watches movies at lunch at work, and we put this on. And I gotta say, it was a blast. We had some great reactions. Like every couple minutes, there was a pretty big reaction for one thing or another. So It's a crowd pleaser for sure. Plus the fact that it's short, it's always a plus.
Yeah.
So if you're the type of person, if you're listening, if you're the type of person that likes to like watch movies with friends. Put this on your list. It's such a fun thing to watch as a group. Extra points if you're into, those old school, like we talked about, like Kamen Rider or like anything like that. Even if you're just like an anime fan, I would say, put it on your list. It's got a really unique look. And I know we keep saying it's a Star Wars knockoff. It's a Star Wars knockoff, but I would also argue that it feels so original. It does feel unique. Like it doesn't to me go, all right. I'm not rolling my eyes like, oh, there's the Luke Skywalker and there's the Darth Vader. It really isn't like that. Yeah. It's like they took the right lessons from Star Wars and said, we're just going to borrow this. We'll give it back when we're done. Just a couple little things. Don't worry. You won't even miss them. But yeah, if you like any of those types of movies, if you're into this sort of interesting, unknown Japanese film, I mean, you need to see that. It really is worth. I'm not just hyped up because I got to watch it and talk about it on a podcast. This is a cool movie. You should check it out. Is it available to own at all in the modern day?
So there's a DVD release. I don't know if there's ever an American DVD release, only a Japanese one, but I'm pretty sure that, I think it's just available on archive.org or possibly YouTube for free. So, it's out there. People can watch it. And hey, just ask me if you want to watch it.
This is the type of thing where I would love to have like an amazing 4K. Like I would watch endlessly the special features and the designs. And in the making of thing that I watched, they were just putting on the screen like pre-visualization stuff and like the drawings and like just the helmet and like the different versions of the helmet like before they landed on the final thing. It's really cool stuff. So yeah, if anyone's listening that can just make that happen, give me a 4K, I'll buy it.
Yeah, one of the things when I was watching Kamen Rider Zeo, which is one of the films he directed earlier this week, it was like first 15 seconds. This is amazing. Like, because that did get like a nice restoration because it's from a much more famous property and It looks great. Like this guy, this is what filmmaking is to me. There's just such a joy in the movies he makes. And it's like, I just love it. I think a big difference between this and like all of the other Star Wars knockoffs that we've seen is something he said in his message on the VHS is that he truly believed that all of this lameness is cool.
Did you just discover the joy part of Stealth Joy Cloud Device Side Story?
Yes, I think we cracked it. And but it's like, he realizes that there's something kind of inherently dumb about grown men dressing up like ninjas, but he embraces it and isn't cynical about it. It's so good.
I think you nailed it. I think the lack of cynicism and the joy of we're just telling you a fun story, we're just delivering you action scenes, and we put a lot of care into them. It doesn't get better. You're right. It's cinema, baby.
Yeah, it's just like I've seen 5 or 6 of his movies. They're all 4 stars or above on Letterboxd, which I don't know if anyone has seen my bell curve on Letterboxd. I don't really give out that high of ratings very often, but it's just like there's this sense in all of his movies of just fun, action, a true love of just making these fun movies that I find so enjoyable. And I'm glad you guys liked it because I don't know if I could have taken it if you didn't.
No, it was a ton of fun. And like DK was saying, we're calling it a Star Wars. It really just took some of the hits of Star Wars, but not really copying it. There's a lot of those knockoffs that are like one for one. This took just some of the beats of Star Wars, but not really the story itself. So
inspired by versus copied from is a pretty big difference.
Right.
Yeah,
you can tell it was influenced heavily.
Yeah. There's plenty of things that we could and did poke fun at of like, oh, this is from Star Wars, but it's like both of you said, it is reductive to just call this like a Star Wars ripoff because it's just so much more than that.
Yeah,
and I think I speak for all 3 of us. Hopefully, when it's like there's not like. I want to be sure that people understand this. There's not like an ironic love of this. It's just like, this is just actually legitimately good for what it is.
Yeah.
I have to agree. Yeah, no, there's no irony here. This isn't, look, and I'm a huge watcher of these types of movies, and I will watch them ironically and laugh ironically. I do that. That's a huge part of movies that I watch. I like to watch bad movies. Mm-hmm. That's just part of my DNA. But this, no irony. I'm not telling you to watch it because it sucks. I'm telling you to watch it because it rules.
Yeah. If you're not on board within the first 5 minutes, keep going because it's only 68 minutes long.
So what else are you going to do?
I was going to say.
Yeah. But yeah, that's Cyber Ninja, and thank you guys so much for going through this with me. But before we get out of here, I have a little trivia game for you boys.
Oh my God.
Boy. I like to call it Notable Ninjas.
Oh boy.
It's just simply a series of trivia questions about famous ninjas in pop culture, and you guys buzz in by calling out your name and giving me the answers. Simple enough, right?
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Number 1, Notable Ninja. This 1998 martial arts comedy film features 3 young brothers fighting to save an amusement park. Go.
Three Ninjas. Oh, Three Ninjas. Is it Three Ninjas 3? Oh, I fucked that up. The Something Mountain. It has Hulk Hogan. Fuck, is that wrong?
I'm going to finish it, and I got to give Chris the chance to answer, because you didn't get it quite right. Martial arts comedy film features three young brothers fighting to save an amusement park from an evil mastermind with the help of former TV action star Dave Dragon.
Oh god, I can see the cover of this damn video in my head. And DK was right. Is it Three Ninjas Kick Back?
No,
that's the second one, I
that's
believe.
the second one,
damn
Chris.
it.
Even I knew that.
Shut up.
Did it come to you, DK?
It's Something Mountain. I can't remember. Isn't it?
It is Three Ninjas High Noon at Mega Mountain.
Oh,
Mega Mountain.
That hurts me so bad.
So 0-0.
I watched it last year.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, you watched it last year. Wow.
Give me some slack. I watched it last year.
Okay, next question. This 1997 martial arts comedy stars Chris Farley as an unlikely ninja raised by a Japanese
DK.
clan. I heard DK first.
Oh,
Beverly Hills Ninja.
That is correct. 1-0 in favor of DK. Next notable ninja. Originally rumored to be a glitch in Mortal Kombat, this red-clad ninja was later introduced as a real character, known for his telekinetic powers and being a fusion of countless souls.
DK. That's Ermac.
That's correct.
Fuck you.
2-0 in favor of DK. This deadly assassin, first bringed to life in Daredevil comics, is known for wielding twin sais and has been both an enemy... Chris.
oh my god. Why did I... Electra.
Yes, Elektra.
Spit on the drink, Chris.
Oh my god. My mind went completely blank for a minute. I'm like, son of a bitch.
Electric nachos.
All right, Chris catching up. 2-1 in favor of DK. This immortal mastermind leads the League of Assassins and sees Batman as both a worthy adversary and
Chris.
DK.
I heard Chris.
Ra's al Ghul.
It's correct. We're all tied up, 2-2.
Bullshit.
This environmentally conscious alien warrior, first appearing in the early 90s, battles pollution and villains like Lord Contaminus to protect the universe from ecological destruction.
DK?
DK.
Is it Zen the Intergalactic Ninja?
That's correct.
Oh my god! I was born for this!
I was like, holy hell no. That one, I would
My
have
heart is
never been able
racing.
I would have never been able to answer on that one.
I actually used to have an action figure of Zen the Intergalactic Ninja.
So good.
I was going, how the hell is Captain Planet involved in Ninja?
Oh my god. I'm
3-2.
shaking. I'm shaking.
First released in 1988, this action-packed game follows Ryu Hayabusa, a skilled ninja on a quest to avenge his father and stop an ancient evil.
Chris, you don't...
Go ahead.
Okay, DK.
DK.
Is it Ninja Gaiden?
It is Ninja Gaiden.
I knew, you know what? I wanted
We already
to say
talked
that.
about it. I was going to let you have it.
I thought that was too easy.
I thought for
was like,
sure you were going to buzz
I know,
in before I even finished.
I was legitimately letting you have that one.
My mind was going everywhere else but that.
Hey, I couldn't remember the Last Jedi earlier. It's okay.
Final notable ninja. This 1984 martial arts horror film blends ninjas, possession, and aerobics as a young woman becomes the host for the vengeful spirit of a slain ninja assassin. Chris.
Was it Revenge of the Ninja? No, it's not. God. Go ahead, DK. I fucked it up.
It's a sequel. I know the movie. What is it called? Something 2? Isn't it Something 2? Okay, I'm wrong. I don't know. I hold on. Can you give me? Can I have the clue
Can I get
one more
bonus
time?
points because I know it's Sho Kazuki is the actor that plays the ninja?
I do believe he is in that movie.
All right,
He is.
give it to Chris.
It is Ninja 3, The Domination.
I knew it was a sequel.
Yes,
I was trying to get
I
there.
knew it was the third one. So
I was thinking it was 2.
yeah, it was the third one.
I have to admit, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it yet.
That's a go-to like yearly movie.
I know that I'm going to love it. It's one of those where I'm like savoring that, just that I know I'm going to love it. I've heard it described a bunch of times, and it's been recommended to me so many times.
Yes,
I will watch it.
When the aerobics instructor gets possessed by Sho Kazuki's spirit after he's like, gunned down by a group of cops, and he, like, buries himself in the middle of the desert.
It sounds amazing. I will see it eventually.
I think that's the only one you guys didn't collectively get right, so sounds like you guys know your ninjas. I mean, Zen has to be the most obscure one of the bunch.
That's a golf clap for DK on that one, because he just reached back there and pulled that right of his ass.
Yep.
So yeah, that was Cyber Ninja. Thank you guys for coming on and breathing life into this dead format with me. Tell the fine folks out there where they can find you and anything that Nerds, Geeks, and the Kitchen Sink has in the works.
Chris, you want me to take it?
Go for it. Let the people know.
Of course, if you want to hear Chris and I, we cover things like your Marvel movies and your comic books and your... I talk about horror a lot. I talk about whatever I want. See, the whole thing is Nerds, Geeks, and the Kitchen Sink, so we can kind of talk about anything. And we do quite often talk about, like, any movies we watched, anything we read, whatever. But we tend to cover, like, the popular stuff. You know, again, like your Marvel movies and all that. We are bi-weekly. We often have guests. We've been on a string of indie comics writers, which has been really fun. There's been some really cool stuff. We've met some neat people. But so check that out if you're into comics or any of that nerd stuff. If you want to hear references like Zen the Intergalactic Ninja on a bi-weekly basis, check us out. I would also just say, hey, I have a music project called Home is Midnight. I want to, if people are into like sort of synthy type stuff, check out Home is Midnight. We will have a full-length album out soon enough. That's all I got really to talk about right now.
Awesome. You got anything, Chris?
No, I'm pretty much, that is, just find us all on the socials. We're everywhere. And then we do have a YouTube channel, so you can see our ugly mugs on top of getting to listen to our dulcet tones.
Yeah, if you'd rather watch on YouTube, right. You can.
But you can find us on all the podcast platforms.
But we want to say thank you for having us, because this has been a blast. And like a legitimate, like heartfelt thank you for showing me this movie.
Yes.
Oh, it was really good.
Well, that's what this show is all about. So, it's like, I am never trying to, with the exception of sometimes I will call out like, hey, this is a bad movie. But I do put thought into which guests I think would go with which movies. So I'm always glad to hear that people actually like it, because it's what I'm going for. And it's really just an excuse for me to introduce people to all of these weird things that I love. So I'm glad you guys enjoyed Cyber Ninja. And I'll also say that you can get a double dose of DK 2 weeks from now when he is back on the show to talk about Trial of the Incredible Hulk. So,
oh yeah.
Look forward to that.
Love that show.
On behalf of the other Chris and DK, I'm Chris, and this has been another episode of Dead Formats. If you have any questions about the show, or if you have a dead format topic that you'd like to hear me cover, or if you have any suggestions for potential guests, please reach out. You can email me at deadformatspod@gmail.com, or you can reach out to me on Instagram at deadformatspod. Thanks for listening.